Hey, this is a quick insight into the CSRD. In this video, I'm going to tell you what the CSRD is about, who must comply and when, and how you should approach the CSRD, as well as some of my personal recommendations. If this interests you, definitely check out this video. Okay, about the CSRD. The goal of the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive is to get quality sustainability data into the management level. Because before, there was hardly enough sustainability data in company, and then companies were not able to make management decisions based on that. So because of that, now the CSRD tries to change that. And they have the ESRS structure, which is basically how the data has to be structured. And this follows the ESG approach. So there are environmental, social, and governance aspects to the ESG structure. And this then hopefully gets enough sustainability data and transparency into the companies so that they can then make management decisions based on sustainability data. About who has to comply. In general, all large companies in the EU have to comply with the CSRD. But there are different steps to it. So if you were under the scope of the NFRD, you already have to report in 2025. If you're a larger company, meaning you fulfill 2 out of 3 criteria, which are 50 million in turnover, 25 million in assets, or 250 employees or more, then you will have to report in 2026. Also, smaller and medium companies that are listed, they also might have to report to CSRD and then start in 2027. And then in 2029, also non-European companies will have to report if they have significant business in the EU, which means that they have a turnover of at least 150 million euros. So what are the next steps? For companies, obviously, because the CSRD is mandatory and it has to be audited, it's very important to companies to make a compliant report. But before one can start with the CSRD, companies have to do a double materiality assessment, which basically means that you have to assess which of the topics in the ESRS, because there are over 1,000 data points, which of them are relevant to your company. I think it's very obvious that an IT company has different priorities than a fishing company. So the DMA is the process to determine which of those topics are relevant to your company so that you don't have to report to all of the over 1,000 data points. And then basically companies have to decide for a procedure. You can go the fully serviced way where you have a consultant that basically does all the work for you, so they know about the process and they manage everything. You can go a middle ground where you use a software that can help you a lot, but basically you still have to do the work. Or you can go the manual route where you basically use a tool like Excel and you do all of the reporting yourself. I, without knowing your company, can really not tell you which of those ways is the best for you, and only you can decide. It really depends on your experience with the topic, whether you have done other reports previously. But in general, I always recommend companies to really dive into the topic. Because, or this is also with the Navigator, what we really try to build up, that we have a lot of knowledge where we talk to a lot of companies and ask them what challenges do they have? How do they approach the challenges? How do they solve it? And we really try to bring all of this knowledge together, because for you, it's just really important to understand the topic broadly, know what are the challenges, know what comes up to you, what are issues that similar companies are struggling with. And when you know all of these, it's much easier to take a decision and to say, okay, we're getting help with a consultant here, or we get a software for this issue. Or also to say hey, we actually know how to manage this. We will just use an Excel sheet and then be done with this decision. So there are really a lot of things to do. And we hope that with the Navigator, we can help with a lot of those information. So you just know how to make a decision. But in general, I I think the best recommendation is to just take any decision that you feel the most comfortable with, that with your current knowledge is the best, and to start with the reporting process now. Because a lot of companies are really underestimating the intensity of this CSRD and the processes that are with that, and are too much in paralysis. So I really just recommend companies like look out, talk to other companies that are in a similar situation, dive into the topic, but then take a decision and don't wait too long to become compliant.